Hello, it is yet another day that we are here for another episode. This is Carol, your health coach, and thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of my life, for being a part of my journey, and being one of my favorite subscribers. I always look forward to a different episode, and today is a new one for our ladies. We are talking about a monster that has affected every woman once in their lifetime. It's called the yeast infection. It is one of the infections that is disturbing so many of us in the reproductive age. Yeast infection, I called it a monster because until you understand it, it is the most humongous thing on earth for a woman. But when you understand it, it's the most minimal thing and the easily manageable thing that you can ever deal with. Every woman in their reproductive age, that is from the time they begin their periods to the time that menopause hits, that is the time that they can bear a child. That's another term for the reproductive age. We call them a childbearing age. So when a woman is going through that age, there is serious exchange of hormones that happens every month. Because every month, a woman will release an ova ready for fertilization. And for it to happen, the body naturally prepares for conception and prepares to carry that child. So the uterus will, enlarge and all these things. So progesterone, estrogen, sometimes testosterone, they are hormones that play a big role in the woman's reproductive. And that would explain why sometimes some hormones are overproduced, some are underproduced. When this process is happening, remember that our vaginal area, we had an episode on keeping a healthy vagina, so feel free to look down on all the videos. You will find that video. You will learn more about keeping a healthy vagina, and you will understand that we have so many bacteria around. The simple example that I give is like, if today Kenya and Uganda, God forbid, decided there was a war between Kenya and Uganda, God forbid. Of course, the Kenyan army, the military will carry all the forces that they have and they will go and camp at the border. The Ugandans will also do the same. And the strong ones are the ones that will win the war. Our reproductive system as women is internal, it is hidden, unlike a man, which you can see the entire reproductive system. It is inside there. So it is well guarded by some forms of bacteria. Once in a while, because of a variety of reasons, these bacteria either overgrow or undergrow, and they cause different problems. And that is when sometimes a woman will experience yeast infection. If you would want to understand yeast infection, I want to give a very simple explanation. If you take bread, it has yeast, okay? Then you put it in water, or you allow water to touch the bread, and then you leave it for some days, some mold starts growing, right? So yeast, when it is exposed to sugar, water, heat, they will make the bacteria that are around our vaginal area, there's maybe the vulva, they will start overgrowing in order to defend the internal of the reproductive system. Remember, inside you have the uterus, the fallopian tubes, everything needs to be protected. So the bacteria, when they overproduce, they are protecting your inside. And so they will give you symptoms to tell your body, please do something, because if you don't do something, the internal will be messed up. So as I always say, our bodies are always speaking to us. So some of these symptoms that it gives to us so that we can take action are foul smelling discharge. When you have a discharge that is smelly, sometimes in the worst cases when the bacteria have overgrown, it smells too bad. Of course, the discharge changes color. Our normal discharge, depending on the time of the month, should be clear and sometimes milky. But if you see a change in your discharge, then it means then the bacteria have either overgrown or there's something that is happening. Of course, the other thing that the symptom your body can give is when you start itching your vaginal area. That is a symptom, your body telling you, please save us from this. In the worst cases, there are people who experience inflamed vaginal walls, and sometimes it goes even to the anal areas. And that is when now we are saying by this time these bacteria have found something to eat, and they have really been, I've seen like 3 cases that left me worried and wondering how did it even get to that point. So if you're watching and you've already seen some of the symptoms, don't freak out. Most of us will freak out. I've had to deal with young girls who tell me, I don't know what is happening to me. Is it an STI? What did I do? And they're freaked out. There are some of the home remedies, some of the things you can do at home, and then you will be able to either minimize, prevent, or manage at that process, at that stage, to avoid the many medications. Remember, on this channel, as Carol Your Health, I encourage you to use the locally available resources before you go to the medication, because the medication comes with another side effect. But what are some of the small things that you can do at home to prevent or even to manage the yeast infection, because it will come. It will come once or twice or even many times in your lifetime as a woman. Before I tell you the home remedies, I want to request that you subscribe. If you have not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you do not miss out on any health topic. We keep discussing different topics, and if you have an idea, if there's a health issue that is disturbing you, would want us to talk about, please feel free to reach us. So the home remedies, some of the home remedies that you can do to prevent or manage yeast infection is 1, drinking plenty of water. That's a given, because remember, in our episode for a healthy vagina, we talked about the relationship between your urine, how diluted your urine is, and your vaginal health. I'll not preempt that. I will send you to the video. It's very clear how to maintain a healthy vagina. So make sure you watch that one. So drink enough water, maintain a clean vaginal hygiene. But that does not mean you use vaginal washes. Still on the same video, we talked about the effect of using the vaginal washes that most of us are using. Using over-perfumed soaps, we talked about that in details. So just use warm water and maintain the hygiene that you need. Number 3, some medication cause yeast infection. For example, anyone on diabetes medication, they always have recurring yeast infection. And this is a result because, remember, diabetes has a lot to do with your insulin levels. Okay? And insulin, literally, diabetes has a lot to do with your sugar levels. Okay? And yeast infection is fed by sugar. If you keep taking a lot of sugary foods and you keep taking a lot of junk food, you will always have yeast infection. So if you want to reduce the number of times you'll have yeast infection, reduce the sugars that you're feeding your body with. Number 4, something else you can do is use of probiotics. Probiotics. How do I explain in layman's language what probiotics are? Probiotics are some healthy bacteria that have been cultured to help your body be able to balance these bacteria. We've said that yeast infection happens when the bacteria have overgrown. So if you give them something that will neutralize, and some of the probiotics we have are yogurt, natural yogurt, kombucha, anything from, actually everything that is naturally fermented is a probiotic, and it will help balance the bacteria, and you will not have this process, this pain of yeast infection. If the yeast infection is very bad, if it is very bad, imagine you can put the probiotics inside your vagina. How you will do it, don't ask me. Whatever angle you will be seated in for you to insert, I don't know. You be creative and see what you can be able to do. But yes, it helps. Apple cider vinegar is also a probiotic, and you can use it. But stop, my sister, stop that thing of putting things inside your vagina to try and do all these things. If you're pregnant, most pregnant women will experience yeast infection. It's because of the heat that is being generated from inside. So don't worry, and I'm sure your doctor will be able to help you manage it. If the yeast infection is happening because maybe you're wearing, your underpants are made of nylon. If you yourself, if you put nylon on your nose, you will suffocate. What do you think your vagina will do if you keep covered in nylon? You're wearing a nylon panty, a nylon biker, a nylon, then on top you have jeans, and maybe you even sleep in these things. You're suffocating your vaginal area and the bacteria will react. So free up, loosen up, let loose. And if possible, wear cotton underpants that will be able to help your body breathe. Yeast infection will also, you can infect someone else. If you use a towel, if I use the face towel or a towel and then wipe myself and then you use my towel, it will definitely be passed on to you. If we are using the toilet and the same toilet, the ones that we sit on, and the water splashes on you, and I have yeast infection that I had just used, then you will have yeast infection. These are some of the things that we can observe, the general hygiene. When you're using public toilet, be careful on how you're using it. Also, see if you can maintain the normal hygiene at home and avoid sharing the personal items. These are things that we were taught in primary school and we thought they were a joke. Personal items are meant to be personal items. Another question I really get from especially married couples, they ask me, is it a sexually transmitted infection or a sexually transmitted disease? I'll say yes and no. It's not necessarily that you got it from your sex partner. It could be because of your body changes. It could be because remember, a woman, even just before their periods, they get yeast infection. But if you have sex with your partner, they can also get a form of yeast infection because it's bacterial. It reflects differently on men, and we will have a conversation on how it reflects. So the best thing to do is when it happens, you treat both parties. You treat both parties and you will have peace of mind. I will leave it at that, and we will have another episode where we will talk about how does this infection reflect in men and how can men take care of themselves. So for us as ladies, we have agreed we'll take enough water. We will keep a healthy vagina. We will watch our video on healthy vagina. We will maintain a healthy weight. We will watch our diet. We will not be feeding on so much sugars, and keep off the alcohol or minimize the alcohol intake and the tobacco and all these things, and we will minimize the yeast infections. Because remember, if the yeast infection is too much, your mind will not be stable, so you will have a mental health related issue. I wind up by reminding you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Remember to follow me on Facebook and on Instagram as Carol, your health coach, and feel free to reach me anytime. 0711 621563, 0711 621563, and you will always have your answers. Thank you so much for your time, and remember to go to the video that we did, A Healthy Vagina. Get to learn something about it. Bye-bye.